welcome to another episode of The Kitchen Witch. It's stupid fucking hot in my kitchen right now because I live in Southwest Texas where it's never cold. Anyways, today I'm going to be making stuffed peppers, which is something I make usually more in the fall and winter because it's pretty hardy, but one of my best friends in the world loves these. Definitely go ahead and check out my friend Rara's Twitch. She does a lot of streams with Doom, Ori in the Blind Forest, and a bunch of other stuff. She's really cool, and you can look at her awesome dog, so that's always a bonus. Anyways, let's go ahead and we will make these stuffed peppers. The first thing that you're gonna need is 4 bell peppers. You can do just about any color. I do orange a lot when I make this in the fall because I like to make them look like jack-o'-lanterns, like this one up front. But you could do yellow, green, red. I tend to stick to the warmer colors because I find that they taste better, but it's whatever your preference is. So I've already gone ahead with these other 3 and I've cut off the tops and removed the inside, and we'll just go ahead and do that with this one here. You can just make a clean cut through the center. Go ahead and we'll throw that part in the sink and you'll just take the seeds out. If there's some seeds left inside, it's not that big of a deal. If there's a lot, wash it out. And then the big thing is you do want this to stand up. So just go ahead, if it's not, and just kind of slice across the bottom. I did that already with these 4. It's okay if there's a little bit of a hole through it. It doesn't matter. Once you fill it, it's gonna stay in for the most part, especially once it's baked. And then what's something fun about this, and you can do this year round if you want. You can just leave it as a bowl, or you can cut fun little designs. I've done a jack-o'-lantern, rabbits, I think elephants on this one, whatever. You can either take a paring knife, like I have here, and you can cut a face into it, like I did with this one. Or if you've got little tiny cookie cutters, you can do that as well. I wouldn't make the hole bigger than your thumb because it will fall out at that point. Because I know Sarah loves Halloween so much, I am gonna do another jack-o'-lantern, even though it is April, who cares? Alright, so yeah, just take a little paring knife and you just cut it out, just like you would like a pumpkin. It's the same concept, a lot cleaner if you will. We're gonna make this super messy for the sake of time, but also not to cut your hand. So just go ahead and you can just eat the little parts you cut off or whatever. And there we go, there's our bell peppers. Now what we're going to do for these is we're going to bake them. So, of course I buried my pan under everything else, but I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna throw them on this pan here, and we're gonna pop them in the oven at 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes until they're kind of soft, because you really don't want a hard pepper in this case, and it does bring up more flavor as well. I also usually drizzle just a little bit of light olive oil over it, just to help moisten it up. But I will cut back here in a second once these are popped into the oven. Okay, so I've got my pan just loaded up with the peppers here, and I did put the tops off to the side just so that there's not that possibility of falling over. So we'll just go ahead, we'll throw open this hot oven here, slide it inside, and then we'll go ahead and we will set a timer for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so now that our peppers are back in the oven and cooking, we're gonna go ahead and do the insides. I've already got a pot of rice made. That's the base of it. You're gonna put at the bottom of the bell peppers. I just did a cup of white rice. You could try jasmine, or I've seen people do Mexican rice. Whatever rice you feel like will work with your taste. I think white rice works perfectly with this because there is a sauce involved and it kind of just soaks it up. So I do have that already in my rice cooker, just made, sitting on warm. Go ahead and we're going to do the in the turkey part that's in the inside. You can do ground turkey, beef, pork, chicken, whatever you find. We chose turkey because it's a little lighter and it is the spring. It's also lower in fat, which does lessen the flavor, but that's okay because we have a very strong sauce. What we're going to need for that is, of course, a pound of turkey, just like that, ground turkey, an onion that we're going to go ahead and dice here in a second, 1/4 teaspoon red pepper flakes. You can just get whatever red pepper flakes you want, and then also a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. It works perfectly for that. Of course, salt, pepper. We're going to add the sriracha later on at the end, and then this is actually my grandmother's tip. for the sauce is that you use V8 juice. It helps kind of thin it out, make it a little lighter, which is really nice with this sauce that can often get very heavy and weighed down, and there's still a lot of extra added flavor. I just bought 1 can because we do not drink V8 juice, and this is perfectly fine. And then I do have a can of tomato juice or tomato sauce in here as well. I just buy regular tomato sauce, not pasta sauce, not pizza sauce. This is just tomato sauce. And then I have a little bit of sugar just to cut some of the acidity in both of these. So let's go ahead and we are going to dice the onion first. As you've seen in my previous videos, it's easy just to go ahead and cut off the top and remove that. And before you remove the skin, just go ahead and cut down the middle. It makes pulling up the skin a lot easier and helps with cutting the onion later on. And just 1 yellow onion is gonna work in this. I wouldn't recommend like a white or a red onion. I would recommend the yellow one. The good thing about in the spring, like late winter, early spring, is that your root vegetables are definitely in season, so you're definitely gonna find some good ones this time of year. All right, now that those skins are off, let's go ahead and dice it. Like always, make sure you keep your hands away so you don't cut yourself like I did. Go ahead, put your hand on top, fingers up, and just shimmy the knife evenly across the middle here. And not all the way through to cut through the roots. We want those roots to hold everything together. It helps just making the dicing process a lot easier. Then we're gonna go ahead and take our knife and we're just gonna make long slices. And then finally, we're gonna slice again horizontal with the roots. Of course, as always, keep your fingers peeled in, keep your knives sharp, and you should be fine. And we are gonna need the whole onion in this case because we are filling 4 bell peppers. This is also something that if you wanted to, because it is the summer, well, almost the summer, it's the summer here in Texas. If you wanted to, you could wrap the bell peppers in aluminum foil and put them on your charcoal or gas grill outside and let them char up a bit. That gives it that extra smoky flavor to it, which is always nice. And you can mix it up with different vegetables and stuff on the inside depending on your taste. What really is nice about this is that the bell peppers have a very mild sweet taste to it, so you can really work a lot with that. All right, now that we've got that diced up, we're gonna go ahead and cut over to my horrible stove, and we are going to work on cooking up this meat mixture. Okay, so we've gone ahead and we've moved over to my oven here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and turn this front burner on to about medium high. Again, this is a cast iron, so it's gonna get a lot hotter and hold the heat longer than your standard non-stick stainless steel pan, but medium high is definitely where you want it. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take our extra virgin olive oil. Like I said in my previous video, this is my go-to oil, and we'll just throw a little bit in that pan and allow it to heat up. Here, it's not gonna take long because my oven's already hot, so we're just gonna automatically go ahead and throw this diced onion in. And what we're doing here is we're just allowing it to soften before we add the meat. If you want, you could do about 8 ounces mushrooms with this as well. Just finely diced it and throw it in at this time too. I also think I might go ahead and add some garlic just to give it a little extra something because it is missing that. Again, when you're cooking, it's always fun just to kind of change things up, move things around. I've been kind of trying to avoid garlic lately. Okay, so I did go ahead and quickly mince up some garlic. I was lucky enough to find some. I know not everyone's finding garlic right now, and things like yeast and whatever are sold out, but you know, use what you can, right? Anyways, I did go ahead and just really roughly chop that up. I like big chunks of garlic in it. If you're not a huge, powerful garlic person, definitely either mince it up or just omit it. But as you can hopefully see here, the onions are definitely getting more translucent. They're starting to sweat, so is the garlic, which is good. That's the flavor that's starting to come out and develop in the pan. And now that they are getting pretty translucent, we'll go ahead and we will add our ground turkey. Any ground meat will work here. It's just kind of up to you. Throw that in there. Nothing messy, right? And this is a good point to go ahead and remember to wash your hands when you're handling meat. Remember, this is our daily reminder to go ahead and wash our hands when we're cooking. You know, I feel like a broken record repeating some of these things, but I've actually had people message me and be like, do I really have to wash my hands that much? Like, yes, you have to wash your fucking hands that much. Do you want to get sick? You're gonna go ahead. Start to just break that up. And while we're doing that, we're gonna go ahead and add that 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning and that 1/4 teaspoon red pepper flakes. And with turkey, it kind of holds together a little bit more than, say, beef or pork or even chicken. Well, I've never actually cooked with chicken, but it does hold together a lot more, so it might fight you a little bit, and that's okay. We also want to go ahead at this point and add just a little bit of kosher salt, because what's a meal without salt, right? And a little bit of fresh ground pepper. I ran out of my nice grinder pepper, so I guess I gotta pick that up. You know, surprisingly, that was something that was sold out at my Walmart, which I spent 3.5 hours in. I know, I'm rambling. Anyways, so we're just gonna go ahead and continue to break this up. I know it doesn't look the best right now, but I promise you it's definitely worth it here once we get the sauce going. So I will go ahead and we will just cut back here in a second to some better cooked meat. Okay, so now that the turkey meat has finally started to brown up here a little bit, we're gonna start our sauce. The turkey's gonna finish cooking during this process, so there's no need to worry. The first thing that we're gonna go ahead and do, and this is really all eyeballing at this point. It kind of just depends on, you know, how much moisture you want in this and whatnot. Again, turkey's gonna release a lot more moisture than beef, pork, but we're gonna take just our regular tomato sauce here, and we're just gonna pour it over nice and neat. No big deal. You could also do like a red pepper sauce if you wanted. And we're just gonna mix this in. Again, I know this doesn't look the most appetizing, but the end product is going to look really good and taste really good. And let's go ahead and with that V8 juice, we're just gonna pour a little bit in. Again, V8 juice is very thin, so it kind of helps keep things light. It's all up to, you know, your looks, how you want it to look here. You don't want obviously too much, but you just kind of have to eyeball it in the situation. Original form of this recipe that I used, I believe called for like 8 ounces, but it's really all based on eyeballing because I felt like that wasn't enough that first time, but then the next time I think I used only like 6 ounces. So we're just gonna go ahead, mix everything in here. That turkey's finishing cooking, the onions are really just getting that nice translucency to them, and the garlic is just kind of roasting in it all. And we're gonna go ahead and add just a little bit of sugar. When I'm cooking with tomato sauce, I usually add just a pinch or 2 of sugar, just because it is such an acidic thing. I like to cut it a little bit with that sweetness. That's completely optional here, but that's my personal opinion. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and let this simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. Again, we've got the peppers cooking, they're almost done. We got our rice already cooked out. So at this point, we're just getting to the part of assembly. Okay, so now that everything's cooked, you'll notice that the sauce has definitely juiced down into this nice thick, flavorful sauce. We've got that, and then we've got our bell peppers. You've noticed that they've lost a lot of color on the bottom of them. It's got like a nice char, which is really nice to have with that as well. That's why I recommend using a grill. Let's go ahead and we'll assemble them. I've got my rice over here in this pot, 1 cup white rice, more than enough. And we'll just go ahead and fill in the bottom here. And I kind of just smush it down just a bit. I just filled out the bottom here, just about halfway, a little under. And then we're gonna go ahead and throw some of the mixture in. If you want, you could throw the tops back on at this point. I did cook mine just because, but I don't normally throw them back on. And we'll throw them on the plate. Some things that you can go ahead and do now. Garnish. I did take some cilantro that I just real roughly chopped, nothing fancy. You can just sprinkle that on top. It's gonna give us a nice flavor. You can do parsley too if you wanted. We like it a little spicier in this house, so a little bit of sriracha on top just go back and forth, and voila, we have our stuffed bell peppers. This is something I eat more in the fall and winter just because it's a little heavier, but you could eat this literally any time of year. My mom makes them in the summer, my dad's made them in the summer. I don't really know anybody in my family who doesn't make these except for my vegetarian sister, who I'm sure will text me after she sees this and says, yes I do, this is how I do it, you should stop eating meat. Went ahead and I'm just gonna finish making the rest of these for my family here. It's a real simple dinner. You could do rice on the side if you want more rice. You could do steamed broccoli, roasted veggies. There's stuffed bell peppers. If you have any questions or any ideas for future recipes that you want me to cover, like Sarah did, go ahead and let me know in the comments or on my Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, anything I have. I am going to go ahead and get another video out this week on chipotle tacos. I'm very, very excited for this recipe. It's something I've made myself. I live in Texas. You gotta learn how to make Mexican food, or at least Texas. My name's Katie. This is The Kitchen Wish. I hope you guys have a wonderful, not so hot spring.